Welcome to American Honey and this episode of Honey Bear's Kitchen. Together, we will learn to cook. Welcome to Honey Bear's Kitchen. That makes me Honey Bear, and I am so happy that you're here. I want this to be a real world cooking experience for you. I want to get to know you. I want you to get to know me. I'm just a normal guy. I want you to know that that cabinet right there is my Tupperware cabinet. 100% it's booby trapped. So later on when my wife goes to put away leftovers, it's all gonna fall out when she opens it. I don't know if everybody's Tupperware cabinet's like that, but it's just how it is in my house. I cleaned up the kitchen for you. I hid the trash cans because you and me are at that place in our relationship, like when my wife and I moved into our first apartment together, and you know, you kind of pretend that you don't go number two, you wait till they're out of the room, and you know, it's one of those things. So now that I've broken every rule of making a cooking show, including mentioning bodily functions, let's get started. I have to tell you about my favorite cooking appliance. A big time saver. Is it the stove? No. The microwave? No. It's not the dishwasher. What is it? Whoa. Here it is. It's the crock pot. I love the crock pot. This was given to us as a wedding gift and sat idle for years. I feel like we didn't realize how awesome the crock pot was until we had kids. If I could go back and give advice to my pre-kid self, it would be to manage my time better. I feel like you don't realize how much time you have until it's all gone, and kids make it all gone. So if you are a parent who works full-time, if you're in a house where both spouses work full-time, that's most of us, because let's be honest, even breathing is expensive these days. And I don't know how I grew up in a house where my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and just the food she made was awesome. She put her life into raising us, and I have her to thank for that. But even she used a crock pot, and I just want to show you how awesome it can be. My son has this book that we read at bedtime. I forget what it's called, but it's about this kid that designs his own house, and he makes like a flying room and a room with that is an aquarium, and the kitchen is like this robot that makes him food. This is almost as good as that. It's like the self-driving car of kitchen appliances. You kind of put it on autopilot and you just let it go. So we're gonna use this today. We're gonna make taco soup. Let's get started. So what I like to do when I cook is to get everything out first, so I don't have to stop and navigate my spice cabinet to try to find the onion powder. I don't know what your spice cabinet's like, but yeah, we'll just leave it at that. What we have: beef broth, kidney beans, black beans, sweet corn, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, salt. Now listen, if you want to be super chef, don't just use the regular table salt. Sea salt makes it more special. I don't know why, but that's what I'm told. And onion powder. Also, pound of ground beef. What we need to talk about first is browning the ground beef. That is one of the prep steps that you actually have to cook before you put it in the crock pot, but it's a step that you'll use in tons of recipes. It's easy peasy. Whenever I'm browning ground beef, making dinner, and my wife is around, you always hear her say, "Did you salt the ground beef?" And that's because there's this rule. I don't know who made it up, but you have to salt it either before it's cooked or while it's cooking. You can't wait till after it cooks. So always salt your ground beef. As soon as it goes in the skillet, I've got my skillet on medium heat, and you just cook it till it's all brown. So after the ground beef has been fully browned, no pink left, remove it from the heat, And we have to drain the juices away because you don't want that grease in your soup. So I usually just shove a hot pad under one end of the skillet, and then you soak it up with paper towels like this. Give it a minute because you want to do a good job, because it's way healthier without the grease and it's not greasy. Nobody likes greasy soup. Maybe unless you're a fireman. I imagine the firemen eat greasy soups. I'm gonna put this in my trash can, except shoot, I don't have my trash can. Give me a minute. All right, so then this gets added to the crock pot. All right, so you put the browned and drained ground beef in crock pot. And then you add the rest of the ingredients. I've already opened the cans to save some time. You put the tomatoes in with all of their juice. You put the sweet corn in with all of the juice. When you have soup, you need juice. With the black beans, you have to drain them first. Actually drain and rinse. I have this guy, and I just dump them, shake it a little bit because I'm trying to stick to the bottom of the can, and then just use your sink sprayer to rinse them off. All right, after they are drained and rinsed, they go in the pot. Kidney beans also come with juice. You don't have to rinse them, but you do have to drain them. So normally I just hold the lid down, dump that into the sink. It's kind of a thick juice, so it takes a second. And then that gets added to the pot. Kidney beans. You rip open the seasoning packets. Spread that in there. Taco seasoning and ranch seasoning. Just adds a lot of spices that you don't have to dole out with your little spoons. 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder. All right, there we go. So 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder, and then a ½ teaspoon of salt. And again, because we want to feel special, we're using sea salt. You know, it's good to dump it in over the counter rather than the crock pot, just in case it goes thump. There we go. So now we avoided a disaster. One last thing, we want to add beef broth, 14 ounces, and this guy is 32 ounces. So we're going to do just like a little under half. And again, it doesn't have to be exact. The tomatoes and all that will, and the corn will make plenty of juice. There we go. And then you mix it together. You wouldn't even have to mix it together. If Honeybee saw me doing this, she'd be like, you don't have to do that, just turn it on. It kind of all gets mixed as it cooks. Put the lid on it. So this is what we're going to do. You turn it on, program, and set it for 4 hours. It's just automatically on 4 hours, but you can make it go higher or lower. Some of them, like chicken, oftentimes cooks for 8 hours on low. We're going to push enter, and high we want low because we're going to cook it for the longer period of time. And then push enter, and we are done. We're done. And like my crock pot has these little doodads here, I guess just in case of earthquakes. The lid doesn't pop off, but you don't have to use those. So it really is that simple. It's going to cook all day long. The house is going to smell awesome when Honeybee gets home from work. We will reconvene later, put it in a bowl for you, show you how it turns out. All right, it is quite a few hours later. The crock pot set itself to warm, and we have soup. What we're going to do, it's gotten kind of steamy. We're going to add cheese, cheddar cheese, and sour cream. And then you mix it together. I'm trying to do this with 3 hands. And garnish it with Fritos.